Let's face it, anxiety is on the rise. There have been many studies to indicate that anxiety and depression rates are especially high in today's youth. But what's even more alarming is that there have been even more studies to show that depression and anxiety rates are particularly higher in first world countries. So, how is it in first world societies where we as people are free to do whatever we wish to do that mental illness is surging? There are a variety of factors. The rise of the internet, the use of social media, and in recent events, a global pandemic can be added to that list as well. However, I think there is another reason as to why so many people have anxiety nowadays. And I do think that the internet and social media are causes for this feeling. So I think that the reason so many people have anxiety nowadays is because we as people care too much of what other people think of us. Now, this is not a claim of me dismissing anybody's anxiety or many of the other underlying causes of it. However, I do think a lot of anxiety nowadays can be linked to the feeling or the fear of what other people think of us. Let me explain. Let's talk about social anxiety. Most people either know someone that has social anxiety or struggle with it themselves. What is social anxiety? Social anxiety is the fear of being judged by other people when you go out in public. What is that besides an extremely irrational fear of what other people think of us? As I was saying previously, I do believe that social media and the internet can worsen these feelings. Let me explain. Say one day you're scrolling through Instagram and you come across a post of one of your friends posting about their new amazing job or their new relationship that they got in. It can be very easy to develop a sense of inadequacy about the quality of your own life. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the term FOMO. If not, it's a relatively new term. It's a sort of anxiety you get when you're on social media and you see your friends engaged in activities that you yourself are not engaging in and want to engage in. I do think, as I was saying previously, I do think that social media and the internet are causes of this feeling. So when you're scrolling through social media and you see these people posting about their quote unquote perfect lives, you start comparing yourselves to what other people are doing. It can be very easy to develop a sort of anxiety where you think your life isn't what it should be, and then you start thinking that these people who post on social media occasionally look down on you for some reason because they think their life is better than yours, and you really start going down this rabbit hole of just complete irrational thoughts that are really just caused by what other people think. Now, I'm certainly speaking to myself. I've had anxiety for as long as I remember, and I remember in middle school I would have panic attacks the day before I would have to give a presentation because I was really scared that I would mess my presentation up and look like a total idiot in front of my entire class. And I think about that now, years later, as just me having an extremely irrational fear of what other people think. And what I'm saying isn't really backed. However, the one merit I do have to my claim was actually back when I was in therapy. I was talking to my therapist about this idea of how my anxiety and people's anxiety in general may be linked to what other people think of them, to which he told me that 80% of his clients' anxiety are rooted in what other people think of them. 80%. Can you believe that? So, what's the solution? You know, it would be really easy for me to sit here and tell you to just stop caring what other people think and have that be the solution to all your problems, but it's not as straightforward as that. It's really hard to not care what other people think of you, and I do think it's normal to some degree to care of what other people think of us because it can give us good insight in the long run. If you find that other people's opinions are holding you back, then it's definitely a problem. I do think that one solution to anxiety for a problem as large as anxiety can be something as simple as mindfulness. The idea of mindfulness sounds very simple, but in practice it does take some level of work to achieve, especially if you are prone to being stuck in your head a lot. By being mindful, our anxious thoughts tend to fade away for the time being because our mind is more focused on our current reality than being caught up about the opinions of others. I remember once I took a master class of being mindful, and there I learned to think of mindfulness as a sort of meditation, to be acutely aware of your present. Mindfulness is basically like an active state of being. However, as I was saying earlier, if you are prone to being stuck in your head a lot, it's going to be harder for you to be mindful just because you're so used to being stuck in your head and just thinking thoughts all the time that you have absolutely no idea of what's going on in front of you. And it's really not good. The best way to eliminate any fear of the future or any fear of the past is focusing on the present. It's going to take a lot of work, but I think it's totally worth it. This is a good spot to end the video. Guys, I want to thank all of you who managed to stick to the end of this video. I know that this was a really heavy topic to talk about, but I really wanted to talk about how I truly felt. I want to know from you guys, do you think your anxiety may be rooted in what other people think of you? If so, let me know down in the comments. Anyways, this is me signing off.